this.
Oh,
I
that's
don't
okay.
usually ask people to do it, partly because I know it's very personal to people
Yeah.
and people don't like talking about it. But I think you seem a bit like I was, in that once you realize it benefits you, it's like I don't care sharing about it and telling people how I felt, because actually I see now that that doesn't mean there was nothing wrong with me. It was just a misunderstanding. And so it sounds like you're kind
Yeah.
of that way. You're like, it doesn't matter if people know, because it's good
No,
to tell people.
yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. I just think it's just nice to share with people, isn't it? And especially I'm 25, and it's nice to be able to share it with like my age group as well, and like someone who's maybe been through similar things. Because for me, I kind of like I've always been a little bit of a people pleaser and just always like everything, overthinking everything my whole life. And then a couple of years ago, it just all just hit me. I just stopped sleeping. I just couldn't sleep at all. And God, I went down an absolute spiral of horrendous anxiety, just thinking like it was just the end of the world and like you're broken.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I spent a few months like that. And then I was just obviously on Instagram Reels, and then I found Lily. I was like, the first person to just kind of say, "Oh, you're not broken," and obviously Lily's Reels are amazing. But and then I come across your challenge. Oh God, when was it? 2021 February or something, or last year? I can't remember. Time just flies.
I'm
Um,
having fun.
yeah. And it was just like I'd Google everything on how to get rid of anxiety, as they say, from CBD. But the amount of videos I see still to this day of like get up at 4 in the morning, work out for 5 hours, take this, take that to just get rid of it. And I try everything, and everyone, bless them, they're trying to help. They say, "Oh, you should try this to get rid of this." It's like, and then you guys are the first people to say, "Actually, you don't need to do anything. There's nothing you need to do." And it's just something like that. I took so many courses on it, and I was like, "Why isn't this helping me?" I still feel awful. I was sleeping dreadfully every night. I was what's the word? Just terrified of like not being able to sleep that night. And then when I found your challenge, it was just like this new, it's hard to explain, isn't it? It's like this new wisdom coming through. And obviously just over the couple of years, it's expanded and you get so many new insights and stuff. And since then, I've just grown really into who I want to be.
Amazing.
Um, yeah,
I think one of the things that people when you say there's nothing to do, like you saying that now, you can say that with ease and you go, yeah, of course there's nothing to do because you understand it. But in the beginning, when people think there's nothing to do, it's like, well, that doesn't help because I need to do something because I've got a problem to fix. Like I've got anxiety to get rid of.
yeah,
And what people don't realize, it's actually just the more that we understand and the more that we know about what it means to be human. Also, all we've got to do is show up, listen, and be open-minded. That's as much as we have to do. And then the rest, it's like I used to describe it a bit like magic. It feels like I was just feeling gradually a bit
yeah,
better.
yeah,
And it wasn't like a massive, I don't know how it was for you, and you can tell me in a sec, but it wasn't like this massive light bulb moment for me. But I started to feel instantly better, and it just developed and developed and developed. And I came into this conversation for anxiety, not expecting to then suddenly for it to enhance loads of other aspects of my life too.
100%. No, I was the same. Like, obviously, my sleep didn't get back to normal just overnight. It wasn't like, oh, I'm cured. It was just months of just listening in, being optimistic. And one thing that has still stuck with me is the first time I heard you say you don't have to take any notes, just take it in. Because the amount of time, amount of courses, people say, right, bring your notepads and write everything down, but you're not actually listening. And
Yeah.
when you said, oh, don't worry about taking any notes, just listen, I was like, not taking any notes, not writing things down. How am I going to remember it? But yeah, no, I didn't need to, and it was just gradually over time, and yeah, it was a few months where I was like, I'm noticing myself a bit more at peace, and like there were times when I wouldn't get a good night's sleep, and the next day, yes, I'd cry, but it wasn't to the extent of what it was. So it wasn't like that's all I could think about. I remember messaging you last year and just being like, today I had a really good cry, but then I just let it go.
Yeah.
And just over time, everything in my life has now started to come together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just would just be, sometimes I do people please, and that's the whole point of this principles is you do get caught in your thoughts still. It's not like you're cured and you never have a bad thought again. I still get caught up in them, but it's just realizing that's not where you are in that moment. It's always just going to pass.
Yeah.
You get a low mood. For example, I had that bug yesterday. I had a good cry, but I just let myself be ill. It is what it is. There's no point thinking what if, what if, what if. But if that does happen, one thing I always do, I just go, oh, thank you, brain. I just laugh at myself and say thank you, brain, and then that stops it for me. Because I do
And
laugh
that's
at
the stuff that
myself.
with understanding, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's because of your understanding, like you can give yourself permission to just leave it be and let it go. Whereas when we don't understand, it's like, well, I can't just ignore it. I've got to take this more seriously because this is serious. And then we start to realize that we're not constantly fighting, battling problems. We're just resisting what is, as you've just said, it's really about acceptance and just seeing that it's okay to be human. And sometimes it involves feeling low, sometimes it involves feeling anxious. And so you're one of the people who, which happens a lot, where people join the membership, probably with a bit of like, not sure, we'll see. And then you stay a while. And even though you're feeling so much better now, you're not getting as caught up, or when you get caught up, it's not for as long. What makes you stick around?
I'd say for me, it's the life bits as well. It's not just the anxiety bits in the calls. It's like normal things in life. I think last night there was talk about the interviews, being at work, dealing with relationships. For me, it's now just keeping that understanding going.
Yeah.
And like, I know that if I ever do need to ask a question, that's there.
Yeah.
Or a lot of time I just listen in. I don't really ask as many questions anymore, but a lot of time I'm getting insights from other people. And sometimes I like to put in the chat about some of my insights that might help others, if that makes
they're
sense.
really helpful. I love it when you do, because they give people hope that are just starting. And that's partly as well what this is about, is to be able to say to people, look, you might have tried everything. You might feel like, this is going to be it forever, and you're just going to have to deal with this anxiety now forever. And actually that's not the case. And I think it can be really, this is what I love about the membership, is that people don't always, some people are like, thanks very much, I'm good, I'm out of here, I'm living my life. The people that just get so it's almost like a bit addictive, like it's good, I like it, let's just keep going. But it's nice to have that mix, so that people that are new, that think, oh, I'm never going to get this, realize, well, actually you will, because everybody does.
And the thing is, like yourself, we were really bad, and then for some reason, just someone saying you're human, it's an emotion, you don't need to do anything with it. It's just so empowering. And for me, the memberships helped my work life, my relationships. I might have mentioned that I now speak on the microphone at work all the time now. I would never get up and do that before the three principles. I get nervous, but I'm getting up there, and I've had so many comments from people at work who say, who have noticed such a change in me, who have noticed my confidence, my ability to stand up for myself, me setting boundaries. There's just so much. And because when I first got bad anxiety, I took a few months off work, and luckily I had an amazing manager around me. But now I'm just excelling at what I do there, and I'm a confident speaker, and I just love it. And now I don't really, if like put it in plain sight, that I don't really care what people think when I get up on that mic. Sometimes I'll get a thought of thinking, oh, whoops, if I'm being too loud, but then I'm just like, oh, go away, whatever.
Because it's not like, we all do that, don't we? It's like there's no,
I
mean, I've been doing this now for, well, since social media came about, I've been doing live calls and Zooms, and it's like I do it all the time, and I'll happily just go live. But there's still times now where I come off a live and go, that was terrible. It wasn't terrible, but my mind is saying, but that was terrible. And again, it's not about saying we'll never ever have negative thoughts again, but it's about how we respond to them, because we see it for really for what it is, as opposed to this thing that happens. We have a thought, it means something about us, we feel anxious, and that's it. Like, we just have to deal with it. We're actually, that's how it works.
And it's just amazing how it's just completely changed my life for the better. And I'll have days where I'm like stuck in my thoughts, and then I'll get a Sarie saying, it will pass. Don't you worry. Don't hop on that taxi. I try and tell your analogies to other people, but you probably do it best. About
No,
the
no,
elevator.
we all do it in our own way. And this
Yeah.
is again what I love about this conversation. There's so many coaches that do this, and sometimes people will hear things from me and it will resonate, and then sometimes people won't, and they'll hear it from somebody else saying pretty much the same thing, and it'll resonate because again, it's all partly to do with whether we're listening with an open mind or not. So keep sharing your metaphors, keep sharing with people, because you never know who it might really resonate with, and that might just need it at that exact time.
Yeah, and it's something that I had an insight maybe a few months ago what I want to do in my career, and the kind of coaching that you do really kind of inspired me, something I want to do in the future.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just something like, I want to go out and do talks on this. I don't know what it is, but
That's
that's my
great. Yeah,
that's my first insight. I want to go and teach it. Not
brilliant.
sure where or when, but
Doesn't
that was
matter.
it.
It doesn't. It just starts with sharing. So
Yeah.
So the practitioners course that I run at the moment, there's people on there that are some that haven't started it, some that have already been doing coaching, etc. And it doesn't matter. It's ultimately about taking care of you, constantly developing your understanding, which is what you're doing anyway, and just sharing and seeing where it goes. I'm so pleased that you've said that, actually, because I think you've had some wonderful insights, and I think you articulate them really well when you share them with the rest of the group. So I'm sure you'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyone who's looking to join or who's new, just keep with it, because, like, in the first month, I was getting insights, but it's not an overnight thing. You've got to keep listening, showing up, making that. And one thing that you said is making that time for you, because a lot of the time it's an hour or two a week, but it is time for yourself, and you've got to put that time aside. It's a bit of self-care, like me hopping on a Zoom on a Monday night. It's just nice just to listen and chat with others and see what insights you might get, or share with the group, or if you've had a rough day, you can share some insights with the group, because every day I'm learning and getting new insights all the time. Like, just with being ill, or if you have a disagreement with a coworker, or a couple of weeks ago, someone made a comment to me at work, and I actually did get into my head about it, had a cry, but you just move on after that, and then that's fine. It's just knowing that it's okay to cry, be in a low mood, be happy, all of it's fine.
And when we're much more accepting of what is, it just doesn't stick around for as long, does it? It just,
No.
you can just move past it and continue on. So thank you. As I say, it's not something that I normally ask people to do, but you reached out to me, which is thank you, and said,
That's okay.
video, and I can share, which is wonderful. And like I say, I don't, because it's sensitive to people, but I think, I'm really grateful for people like yourself and it's okay when people don't want to share, but like yourself, who are also spreading the word and sharing, because there are still a lot of people out there who feel that they've tried everything with anxiety, they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, there's just the way they've got to live, it's just always, trying to keep your head above water, that's how life is, and it's really not.
Yeah, completely agree. It changed my life, and it still does today, and I'm forever grateful that I found you guys on Instagram. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be, and I think
Yes.
we always find our way eventually, however that be, we find our way, because we are having insights even when we don't realize it, we're having insights. But what I love about the membership, and it's funny, because I still get lots of insights and support from the membership. It's like, I always say it's my favorite place to be, because that hour a week for me is time for me as well. I mean, I get away with not putting the baby to bed at 8 o'clock on a Monday because I'm doing my call, and it doesn't feel like work. It just feels lovely. So yeah, it's about continuing and keeping exploring, and it just gets better and better. But thank you so much.
That's okay.
Really appreciate it.
That's no problem.